Yeah, hi there. These comments, I'm just using your initials C, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL iBT. And you completed what we know as an independent writing practice test. You're also one of my writing students in the English language program here at California State University, San Bernardino. So you completed its response, the what are the qualities of a good roommate, use reasons and examples to support your opinion. So you had about 50 minutes, I think, to write this one. And you have 250 words, not enough development. So you need to develop your topics a little bit more, right? So I'm going to show you a couple of things. So your introduction here needs to be developed more. So you have 39 words, but what if we give you 100 words? What would that look like, right? So what I want to do is to give some general statements first. So you might want to say, students, or how about this? Once they complete high school, some students will decide to pursue undergraduate degree. So you start off with some general statements first. They will decide to pursue an undergraduate degree. I'm going to say these aspiring college students need to make some important decisions. Begin their, we'll say, college studies. So still kind of general. They will decide what major they will study, so they will decide what major they will study. We might say whether or not they will apply financial aid or scholarships, and where they will study. I'm going to use a different word here. Pupils desire to study at a college located far from their hometown. They will to live in a dorm, or maybe they would choose to live in dorms, make this plural, or maybe apartments. You see what I'm doing now? So you basically just had one sentence to raise your topic, but that's not going to get it. That's not going to be good enough here. So you have to show that you can create some general statements. You can make some general statements about the topic. Now I'm going to take your sentence. Let's put it up here. Instead of there, you want to say it. It is always better if not you. We don't want to use you here. How about college students you can say share we'll say share their living spaces they share their living spaces, including the utilities, their living costs when they are studying away from home. I like the word thus. We're still not ready for your thesis. Should carefully consider type roommate with, we'll say, whom they will live. And then we'll say all right, so now we're pretty much at our thesis now. In my opinion, loyalty and cleanliness are the most important qualities. We'll say new roommates we'll say should have here. I think we got it. Now we went from 34 words to what? 146. Now I'm not saying you have to have this big of an introduction, but I'm telling you, if you want people to take you seriously with writing at the college level, you have to take time to develop your topic, to raise the topic, I think, and then state the thesis, and then you actually have a better argument. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have so far. Once they complete high school, some students will decide to pursue an undergraduate degree. That's kind of a general statement. Therefore, these aspiring college students will need to make some important decisions as they begin their college studies. For instance, they will decide what major they will study, whether or not they will apply for financial aid or scholarships, and where they will study. If some of these people desire to study at a college located far from their hometown, they will choose to live in dorms or maybe apartments. Notice how as I move through the paragraph, it gets more and more focused. Of course, it's always better if college students share, and we're getting more narrow now, by the way. It is always better if college students share their living spaces, including the utilities, so that they can minimize their living costs when they're studying away from home. Thus, now we get into almost our thesis. Thus, these students should carefully consider what type of roommate with whom they will live. In my opinion, loyalty and cleanliness are the most important qualities that a new roommate should have. Okay, so let's take a look at this paragraph now. And for the purposes of the video, I'm not going to error correct everything. I'm going to just error correct your first two paragraphs so you can have an idea of how you can strengthen and heighten the force of your writing. You say, first of all, living in a community I'm going to say this, give you a bit better college level word. Living in a community signifies responsibility. And I'm going to combine these two sentences, and then you say, so loyalty is the first quality that this new person who is living with you And I think because you're trying to focus, I think, on your own personal experience, right? So I think that you, the second person singular, is the wrong tone here. I don't think that's the most appropriate tone for this kind of writing, right? Is the first quality. I'm going to just say here, of a new roommate. You don't need to say any of this. See, for example, if you say, when I need to leave early or fast, to go to a class, you might say, living in a community signifies responsibility. So loyalty is the first quality of a new roommate. For example, we need to leave early or fast to go to instead of, you might say, my English and you might say, and if I left See, what I'm trying to do is give you a little bit more specific, more precise language. You talk about things in a general sense, but put a face behind the writing. And that personal tone, I think, helps. So you're saying, for example, when I need to leave early or fast to go to my English language program class, and if I left my notebook for my grammar class, I could send a text message to my roommate who is responsible enough to bring that notebook to class for me. I would say something like that. You have here another good illustration of this is you have something valuable in your house, but you know it will be safe there. Your roommate is not a thief. Therefore, loyalty. No. No, what do you have here? Loyalty and cleanliness. No, this is no good. This doesn't work. No, why not? Because here, you're trying to illustrate responsibility here, right? But then this idea is bringing up what's called honesty, and then loyalty. That's a whole nother topic. So I don't think you need this in that paragraph. So you might want to say something like, in addition, if my roommate is responsible, he will agree to split the rent and the utilities so we compare bills on time each month. Finally, since we are living in apartment, we will share some common living spaces. Roommate should be responsible enough not to leave his belongings. You might say such as his backpack, cell phone, iPad, computer, yeah, I think we have that. You see what I'm saying? So what you got to do here, if you talk about responsibility here, you so we have loyalty here. Wait a minute. So what we need to do here, just for a minute, hold on. I'm going to change some of these ideas to loyal. My roommate is loyal. He will agree to split the rent, utilities. We can pay our bills on time each month. Finally, since we're living in an apartment, we'll share common living spaces. And my roommate should be loyal enough not to leave his belongings, such as his backpack, cell phone, iPad, computer, scattered around the house. I would hope so we have here, I would hope that my roommate is loyal enough to be able think that's it. So let's take a look at this. So I got rid of some of your ideas here because you can't put too many ideas in a paragraph. So again, we got a big fat paragraph here. Here's another paragraph. So I'm just going to rewrite your topic sentence here. We'll be done with it. So we'll say quality enormous. I don't think that's the right word. I'm going to say important. We've used that before maybe. Give you another word. Crucial. Another crucial quality, roommate, is that I'm going to just say that, cleanliness, right? This is not bad. I like how you use the word 2 cockroaches there. That's a pretty specific word there, so that's good. But still, you want to develop this idea. It's almost there, maybe 20 more words, but I think this is a better paragraph here. It was very focused in that sense. Conclusion's a little bit too short, right? Okay, let's go through spell check for just a minute. Okay, so I want to go through the first 2 paragraphs that I read now, and then you can kind of compare with what you wrote. So you say, once they complete high school, some students will decide to pursue an undergraduate degree. Therefore, these aspiring college students will need to make some important decisions as they begin their college studies. For instance, they will decide what major they will study, whether or not they will apply for financial aid or scholarships, and where they will study. If some of these pupils desire to study at a college located far from their hometown, they will choose to live in dorms or maybe apartments. Of course, it is always better if college students share their living spaces, including the utilities, so that they can minimize their living costs when they're studying away from home. Thus, these students should carefully consider what type of roommate with whom they will live. In my opinion, loyalty and cleanliness are the most important qualities that new roommates should have. First of all, living in a community signifies... I'm going to just get rid of it. This is a little bit confusing. Signifies loyalty. And then we'll just say here, comma, the first quality of a new roommate. For example, when I need to leave early or fast to go to my English language program class, and if I left my computer for my grammar class, if I left my notebook for my grammar class, I could send a text message to my roommate who is loyal enough to bring that notebook to class for me. In addition, if my roommate is loyal, he will agree to split the rent and the utilities so that we can pay our bills on time each month. What if we get rid of this? I'm going to try to shorten this to just this. Finally, since we're living in an apartment, we'll share some common living spaces, and my roommate should be loyal enough not to leave his belongings, such as his backpack, cell phone, iPad. And then maybe, and computer scattered around the house. Since I also want to keep the house uncluttered, I would hope that my roommate is loyal enough so I would not have to tell him every time you leave his belongings out of place. Okay, so if you just look at these 2 paragraphs here, right? So now we're dealing with 312 words just in these 2 paragraphs. And then, of course, you have your next paragraph along with your conclusion, your conclusion doesn't need to be as long as this, but I'd recommend maybe 4 or 5 sentences for your conclusion. And that's showing that you can develop your topics. Now the next question is, what is your score on this particular writing? So if you look at the IBT TOEFL rubrics, if we go to the independent writing rubric score, you have a possibility of getting a 5, 4, 3, 2, and a 1. So I'm going to put you in the 2 range because of limited development in response to the topic and task. Inadequate organization. Remember in that second paragraph you had too many different ideas in there. It's better to just focus on one idea and just develop that and then move on. Maybe inappropriate or insufficient exemplifications, explanations, or details. A noticeably inappropriate choice of words or word forms, accumulation of errors in sentence structure and or grammar. So I'm going to put you in the 2 range. All right, now if we go to the, I'll put this in the email that I'm sending you to. You can check out, you can also read the sample. I'm going to give you a sample essay too. So I'm putting in the 2 range, but specifically, I'm going to put you at about, I like that 3rd paragraph, by the way, so I'm going to give you 2.3 out of 5, and for the purposes of our class, this is going to put you at 78% out of 100. Now the next question is, what can you do, if anything, to improve your writing proficiency? So there are some things you can do. So in my online TOEFL course, I know that you have a password here. Your password, by the way, is your email. So if you go to stealth.bettertoeflscores.com, right? The first thing for you is, I think you can benefit by studying in the vocabulary part of my course. So let me show you. That's what I'm talking about. The first thing I think you should do here, remember, I recommend you do this in addition to whatever vocabulary study you're doing in your ELP classes. I recommend you do this. First of all, go through and complete lesson number 3. It's a vocabulary ebook of 200 basic TOEFL words. That's going to help expand your vocabulary. Do that one first. Then, lesson number 4. This is a vocabulary of 500 words, A through E. Then you can complete the practice exercises. Now you'll notice with a lot of these lessons, you can actually download the vocabulary. You see this? So you're going to right click on it and you'll save the link as, and you can save this to your desktop, and then you can put it on your computer, your iPhone, or your iPad, or whatever, and start listening to these words. I think that your vocabulary study is going to help you a lot. Now, it'll take you probably 2 or 3 months to do this, so let me know at the end of the quarter if you want to have continued access to my online course so you can continue to study vocabulary, and I will let you do that. So also lesson number 4, 5, and 6. So you need to really go and complete vocabulary lesson 3, 4, 5, and 6. It will take you probably 2 to 3 months. You can do this. It's going to take work. You'll need to be studying about 1 to 2 hours every day for the next 60 to 90 days. All right, now in addition to learning vocabulary, which helps your language use, there's one other thing to improve your language use, and that's grammar. So in the grammar part of my course, I recommend you do a couple of things. First, complete the grammar diagnostic pretest, right there. And then you can go through all these lessons. You see this? This is going to be very, very helpful for you. Now, the last thing that I think will help you is you need to do more writing practice. The more you write, the better you're going to be. So what I want you to do now for the next maybe month or so, I want you to start completing some independent writing practice tests at my website. So here's writing. It's step number 6. You see these? Here are 40 writing practice tests, very similar to what you just did. And you'll notice when you click on a link, it'll give you some directions. So we're clicking on Independent Writing Practice Test number 10 here. So you want to make sure that you read these instructions before completing the practice test. And then when you're finished with the practice test, you're going to email me and tell me that you completed it. And then I will send the message over to my teaching assistant who will score your writing. Again, he'll use the same rubric. He'll score it from 1 to 5. Now, I think if you do maybe 10 to 15 writing practice tests over the next month, and you're also studying vocabulary and grammar in my online course, you will start improving your writing. You will definitely get better. You see what I'm saying? Remember, practice makes perfect. Now, if you don't do any of the suggestions in this video, then your writing remains the same. It will remain the same as it is now. So it's your choice. I think you could benefit by using my course, by completing the vocabulary, grammar, and also completing writing practice tests over the next few weeks to improve. So anyway, thank you for completing the writing practice test. I was happy to read your essay, and I look forward to reading your final exam, your final practice test.